I don't mean to say this like to be disrespectful, and maybe this is some people are gonna think this sounds dumb, but I feel like there's a deeper reason why, people of color and specifically the Black community have been relentlessly persecuted. Like, I mean, just the things that happened during slavery alone, like, were insane.
When they attack Black people after they've been murdered, when they did absolutely nothing wrong, you're pushing us to the limit. And what do I mean by that? You're asking us to talk about history, the history of the South. This is in Georgia. What happened in Georgia? There were savages in Georgia. It was the ancestors of the white right-wingers. They were absolute savages. They murdered people, they lynched people, they raped people, they enslaved people. They took babies from their mothers and sold them as property. You want to talk about savages? Your ancestors were the biggest savages the world has ever seen. And so don't you dare call a Black man a savage after you murder him. Don't you dare do that. I'm so sick of African Americans being called violent when the world's worst violence was done to them, not by them, to them, not by them. For God's sake, you want to do racist stereotypes? If it fit anywhere, and it doesn't, but if it fit anywhere, it would certainly fit white right-wingers in the South, who has hundreds of years of history of being savages. Savages. They snatched babies, and they sold them as property, and they were mothers. Savages. That's what they were. You want to talk about stereotypes? Screw all of you who still defend that Confederacy, that monstrosity. Anyone who defends that is a barbaric savage.
Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. In case you're new here, my name is Maren.
And I'm Maureen.
Right, so in today's episode, guys, we're going to be talking about how some white folks are finally waking up to the realization that Black people are the real chosen people, yeah? And critical thinking is very, very important, which is what we are going to be seeing in today's videos. Some speakers, one lady in particular, was just thinking to herself and asking the right questions, I feel, because to her she was thinking, yeah, if it was just about racism and skin color, then why would Black people need to be treated that way? But her deeper thinking is making her think that it's more than just the skin color. There's something people know or the systems know that is making them treat Black people the way they're treating Black people.
Right, and also in this episode today, white people are basically going to be calling out each other and their race of how they treat Black people, and in relation to how Black people were treated during slavery.
Right, guys, let's watch what we've prepared for you and then we come back and talk about it. You can let us know your thoughts and opinion on the comment section. Also consider subscribing if it's your first time here. Let's watch.
Alright, so this video is about Black people and how they're actually superior, not just physically and all this and genetically and all that stuff, but actually they're the chosen people. Not all Black people, but a lot of them, and even I could say, I don't know if I could say most of them, but many of them. Specifically the people that are living in America, and specifically the people who have been sent all over the earth on slave ships. Those people are superior, even in the Most High's eyes himself, because those people are the Israelites. And there's a scripture that says, not only it says if you bless them you'll be blessed, but there's also one that says you have to cling to them or you can't even be saved. So for one, that means acknowledging who they are, obviously. And for two, it means reading even their own scriptures, because these scriptures are not for everyone.
I don't mean to say this like to be disrespectful, and maybe this is, some people are gonna think this sounds dumb, but I feel like there's a deeper reason why, people of color and specifically the Black community have been relentlessly persecuted. Like, I mean, just the things that happened during slavery alone, like, were insane. But I don't know, the more I learn about Black history and the ways that, people who literally worked in the government, like the CIA, all these different people in power were trying to ruin the Black community. And it makes me think, dude, I feel like, is there something more going on here than just racism? Because it's like, come on. You're telling me you're doing all of this stuff just because you don't like someone's skin color? I feel like, what if, I have this theory that, like, what if Black people have some type of superpower? Like, what if they have, I don't know, if they're just born with something very valuable that we don't really know about, but maybe, you know, like I said, these people, these rich people and these people in power, maybe they figured it out a long time ago, and maybe that's why they were like, oh, we have to like get rid of them, blah blah blah. I don't know, I feel like maybe they have something special that we are not taught about that is linked to them being people of color, you know. And I've seen some Black creators come on here and try to explain how special it is to have melanin in your skin and how it has all these different properties, but I don't know, I just feel like I have this theory that this goes so much deeper than maybe a lot of us realize, because I'm sorry, but I don't think you're gonna go out of your way for all these hundreds and hundreds of years to try to ruin one group of people over something as silly as, oh, their skin is a different color. Like, I feel like there's something that we don't know. I'm telling you, there's something special about them that they don't want us to know. Okay, this is just something that I've been thinking about recently, and I'm like, maybe if there are some Black creators that maybe they already made a video and I just didn't see it, I don't know, but like, I don't know, maybe this sounds dumb, like, or maybe this is like, yeah, no shit, Sherlock, but, you know, it's just something I was thinking about.
Melanin absorbs light, EMF, and sound, then converts that into biological energy, which is basically it taking all of those things and then turning it into fuel for the body. And scientists actually discovered that melanin can generate electric current from light with no wires. So like a melanated being standing out in the sun literally charges them up like a battery. Like, quite literally, having melanin is like being a battery. And like, it can conduct electricity. It is used in supercomputing. It's found deep in the brain, in the parts of the brain where it's, you know, dealing with awareness and consciousness and like your reality. And so I'm just like thinking all of these things that are tied to melanin, and it just seems like this magical thing. Like, even in Egypt, they thought of it as some magical Black substance. You know what I mean? They thought of it as a divine, magical thing. And so I'm thinking maybe, you know, some other people had that awareness as well and knew about that. And that's why melanated beings were treated as such throughout history. Like, maybe the knowledge that's hidden within, you know, the Vatican, let's say, maybe there's some knowledge about melanin and what it really is and what it really does and what it truly means. And that's why melanated beings were not treated correctly throughout all of history. Because, like, they had some knowing about what it truly meant. It just seems like it's magical. Like, I'm going to look more into it, but it genuinely seems like melanin is magic. I'm just saying.
Man, I tell you what, nothing makes racist white people more pissed off than me, a white person, trying to educate about racism and trying to educate about what white privilege is and all these things. And it's so funny because these same people will argue with me till they are blue in the face about how they're not racist and we don't live in a racist institution and Black and brown people have it so easy and racism doesn't exist anymore. But then they will turn around and say the most racist, ignorant, vile shit you've ever heard in your life. The disconnect is amazing. And this is why I make content like this, because it's so important. Because we do live in a racist institution, and we are all raised in racism as white people. This is simply a fact. And the crazy part about it is every one of us knows this. Even the ones who will sit there and fight with me to the death about it and act like it doesn't exist. Y'all know white people are racist. Y'all know about the casual racism, the casual microaggressions that we are raised in, no matter where we live in this United States of America. And this is why I will never stop. I will never stop trying to educate as a white person about racism and how we need to learn. We need to evolve. We need to do better. It's almost as if they feel like admitting to a racist institution or admitting to racism makes them this evil, terrible person. And so they would rather double down than to grow and be a good person. And that's so bad, because all that says to me is that you have a small mind and a cowardly soul. And I wish better for you than that, truly, because Everything in your life will get better when you stop being so ignorant.
You know, I'm often very hard on white culture and whiteness, so I've been asked to say something in support of them. I mean, look, we did contribute like hummus, I think, or, maybe vinaigrette dressing or something, I'm sure. But also, through our forcing Black folks to assimilate into our culture, I'm kind of with you white folks. Like, I'm tired of them behaving like us. Tired of their appropriation of our culture, right? The violence against Black folks, that's our thing, right? You know what I mean? The whole competing on who's got the flyer rides, the competition, instead of celebrating each other. That's on us, isn't it? That's our thing. That's what we do. We compete. Who's going to be the richest, who's going to be the wealthiest. That's our thing. They need to stop doing that. It's really irritating. I understand why we want to get away from them. Let's see, what else do they do that we can't stand? The acting like people are bothering them when they have some needs or something, like, I made this is mine, that very individualistic thought process. That's us. I'm with you. I'm starting to see the way now. I think white folks, we do need to get away from them. We need to leave them alone and stop forcing them to assimilate, stop trying to educate them by not teaching them about their own ways. We need to stop letting them come down to our low level of vibration. It really is bothersome to see them operating on a low level of vibration when we know they have been historically operating on a much higher spiritual level than we have. I'm with you. I really think that they need to leave us alone and stop assimilating into our culture just because we control the resources or whatnot, just because we provided the drugs and the guns and we manipulate through the media. They need to stop that. They're acting like us, aren't they? And we don't like it. At least that's what the media teaches me, that how Black folks act. And the media wouldn't lie. So I'm with you. Go back up to that higher level of vibration and show us the love and protection and appreciation and how we should be behaving. Stop acting like us at this low level. My gosh.
So guys, welcome back. Let us know what you think about the videos we just played you. Yeah, I feel like there's a breed of white people who are really seeing the situation for what it is, and if some of them are beginning to see that the Black population are the real chosen people, and they're beginning to look at why that is, I feel like it's a situation where they're trying to place the mirror in front of white Americans, and it's a situation where they're trying to reflect and show them, is it alright how they're treating Black Americans in America? Why is it that they have to oppress Black Americans so much, and others go to the extent where they're trying to pretend that this isn't happening? They deny that even racism in itself is happening in America.
Right, because I feel like the most interesting thing they said was, why would you try, or why would you consistently bring a certain race down for a long time if you consider them already at the bottom of the barrel? Why then would you need to put measures and keep harming this particular set of people in order for you to feel like you are higher than them or you're superior than them? Because most of them here said today that they feel like Black people naturally vibrate on a higher frequency than white people, and white people for the longest time have tried to tame that vibration in order for them to feel like they're higher than everybody else. To him, he feels like Black people should be led to to radiate on that high frequency, and maybe the white population can then learn from what black people are vibrating from. But why do they need to clip that vibration?
Right, to the extent where, you know, it's getting serious when somebody just sits down and their critical thinking is telling them that, wait a minute, this is more than just racism, right? For somebody to think that a certain group of people must have some certain superpower, do you think the people who built the system that is oppressing black people, do you think they don't know this fact about the black population? There's a reason why they can never let black people reach a certain level without them bringing them down, you know.
Right.
And when you're talking about the melanin and the power the melanin holds, right? I was looking at a video on TikTok just the other day, and this lady who was seated with an Asian friend of hers. She happened to be Caucasian, right, with blue eyes, and the Asian friend had black eyes. And the caption of her video was, she has blue eyes. The kind of problem she has to face is, one of them is that she cannot look at the sun directly, and then she points at her Asian friend who has black eyes, right?
And her eyes are wide open,
right? And she's just like looking at the sun, the sunset, and it was such a beautiful thing to see. But for herself, she couldn't look at the sun directly. She was kind of squinting her eyes because it was painful to look at the sun. And guys, for those ones who know the importance of melanin, you would know that the amount of melanin in your body contributes to the color of your eye. It contributes to the color of your skin. It contributes to how your body, your parts of your body function, like the brain, you know, the inner lining of your organs. You would know that melanin contributes to all of this, right? So for white people, they lack in melanin when it comes to a lot of areas, even the color of their eyes. That reflects the amount of melanin they have. And because of this, it's also common knowledge that a lot of white folks really cannot survive under the scorching sun without repercussions if they do so without sunscreen, you know.
Right.
So this being known, do you think there's a reason why researchers started studying things, and they used a lot of black people to conduct a lot of their studies? That is how the gynecology industry was born, you know, if you know what I mean. So there's a reason why they used black people in studies, and I have to say that there's a lot. Do you think all the research they found, do you think it was shared by the world?
Not really, because sometimes I often think that white people know more about black people than actual black people know about themselves, you know, because like what I usually say and what I often say is, since white people have taken the liberty to study black people time and again, we could literally be living our own lives and doing our own things, but white people are constantly usually studying black people's every move, right? And I said, black people should also start getting interested in studying white people in order for us to understand the phenomena that is white person, because also there's often been the question, where do white people originate from? And there have been several
theories out there.
Right, there's a lot of theories out there, ranging from they came from Caucasus Mountains. Others from a biblical perspective says that I don't know if it is Jacob from the Bible was the one who created white people in the lab, and others have often also said that white people are descendants of angels and black people who mated.
Right,
so,
and
there's a lot of theory out
white
there.
White people came about when the original human being in Africa, when they started now spreading out to look for different kind of environment and resources, and then further up they went, the later their skin became, you know.
Right, so when you compare these two scenarios, white people are a phenomena that sometimes black people and other groups of people do not understand, because where they come from kind of is held as a mystery because it's not clear. But when you start to study where black people came from and where the first skull of a black person was discovered, it is like something that is very straightforward, right? Some sources say that humanity began in Africa and it was majorly of black people, right? And others say that when God was creating human beings, he used soil to create human beings, and this soil is the color of our skin, you know. And this brings us to the major question of, Could this be the reason why the white population, majority of it, not the whole of it, a majority of it studies and wants to understand black people and the abilities of the black person's melanin? And is this the very same reason why most groups of white people are angry or jealous of black people?
Right, guys, if I can just remind you, during the days of slavery, for the white man, it was really a mystery where the black person was getting their strength, because they believed the black people really
could work well in the fields without being tired. They could whip black people, and they believed black people were not feeling pain the same way as white people, right?
So it was really a mystery for them to try and understand where that strength was coming from, And this, it led to a point where they had to start studying in order to understand where the black people's strength was coming from, yeah? And it's just like in today's society, how you can really commend the lady who was talking about how they need to leave black people alone for them to live their own lives. But that is just where the question mark is. Why can't they leave black people alone? It's like you don't love them, but you can't live without them kind of situation. It's like you don't want them where you are, but you don't also want to let them out of your sight, if that makes sense. And there's a lady who was talking, and she brought about a point where which I feel like a lot of Caucasians don't really like admitting this. They'd rather admit any other thing and go around circles than admit this, that she said this, and I quote, "We are all raised in racism as white people." Let's just take a minute to let that sink in. That was coming from a Caucasian person's mouth, and it was coming from the horse's own mouth. And she said, "We are all raised in racism as white people." So you ask yourself, why do you feel the need to pass down feelings and a certain type of view down generations? And like, what is the need of all that? Because there are people out there who say, "I'm not a racist," but one of
Their
your own
actions are different.
Their actions are different, and one of their own is coming out to tell on them, and to actually admit that, look, this is what happened. So can we just say those ones who turn out to be fair and good people, they choose to be good humans, because a lot of white Americans, it's like it's been embedded on them. So it's upon you to try and save yourself and look at the world differently and treat people who do not look like you in a different manner, yeah?
Right, basically relearning what has been taught to you. But guys, I don't know what you think about this episode. You can let us know down on the comment section, and also consider subscribing if you're new to our channel, and we'll see you on our next episode.